Russorific booking on display. Swerves for all bros, swerves for all broettes. And my god, WCW was done. It was so done. I'm John Ritlin with a retro review of WCW Thunder from May 24, 2000. Getting close to the Great American Bash, the final Great American Bash under the WCW banner, and the show was, it was a shell of a television program at this point. It wasn't even a wrestling program. None of the matches mattered. Any of the efforts from the wrestlers were just totally negated by bullshit booking and by the fact that Russo was a goddamn idiot that was ruining the company. Even though the AOL Time Warner merger that was happening was going to finish the rest of that off, Russo's booking didn't fucking help, and this was a prime example of it being absolutely horrendous. I remember WCW 2000, but, purged a lot of it from my brain. This is bringing it all back, and I regret watching this, but you know what? I'm going to keep watching because it could always be worse. I'm not sure how, but it will get worse. So, we have Chris Candido with Tammy the Tramp versus the artist formerly known as Prince Iaukea with Paisley, and Daphne's also there. It's a three-way dance because Daphne is a Cruiserweight champion. This was a mess. This was this was ridiculous. And I like Daphne, and Chris Candido's a good athlete. And, Prince Iaukea is actually pretty good. Paisley is not bad. Tammy the Tramp is what she is. Fucking useless. And Miss Hancock was there. Well, what happens? Oh no, Crowbar shows up. We just had the DQ rule thrown out. Tammy pays off Miss Hancock by putting money in her shirt from her shirt, takes the clipboard, accidentally cracks Chris Candido over the head, and Daphne covers Chris Candido to retain the Cruiserweight Championship. No, really, that is what happened. I like Daphne. She shouldn't have been Cruiserweight Champion, but it was what it was. Hey, at least they were trying something different, but this is when the titles were just getting passed around like beers at a college party. Or beers at any party. Or beers, when you're just drinking outside your local grocery store. Whatever you may choose. This was fucking embarrassing. We then get Bischoff and Russo arguing Kimberly is going to watch Liz be her personal assistant. Well, Liz is going to be Kimberly's personal assistant. Norman Smiley and Ralphus are selling lotion and stuff. Have that, be an image that sticks in your mind. Ralphus with lotion. And then Shane Douglas says, hey, I'm going to get you guys jobs. You face me for the Hardcore Championship, because Douglas took the Hardcore Championship from Terry Funk during a beatdown on WCW Nitro. And yeah, Douglas is here. And boring people. Shane Douglas was wiped out by this point. He really, really was. He says, it talks about Flair and, calls him Dick Flair, all this stuff, and because creativity. And then here's Ralphus and Norman Smiley, and Ralphus is a gorilla, and he's shying away, he won't do anything. We got, Norman doing the big wiggle. Despite the fact they were both fired, they're allowed to just get in the ring. Obviously, they weren't both fired, but for storyline purposes. So they get a battle on the ramp, and then, I don't know why this was, I don't know what this was. It went on forever. We get a table bump, and, Douglas gets laid out. What the hell? Ralphus is suddenly standing up for himself. Oh, wait, who's in the gorilla outfit? It's Terry Funk. Terry Funk gets the pin and then pulls his mask off, and it's Terry Funk as a hardcore champion because he has a new contract to carry himself through June 1st, 2001, which clearly is when WCW will still be going. They were only off by about, just over 2 months. My God, no. About just over 2 months. This was a fucking mess. This was another fucking mess. And I like Terry Funk. I don't really care for Shane Douglas. I hate the guy. I just don't care for him. Bischoff says, hey, Ernest Miller, go do something useful. He didn't leave the company, so it wasn't anything useful. But he sends him after Funk. Then we get Flair recaps. Here's Russo, David, and Daphne. By the way, Daphne was in a black wedding dress for that Cruiserweight title defense and still won. And then, Reed Flair's 6th grade teacher. Who is this for? What benefit did this have? What was the reason for this? This isn't even good Jerry Springer. This isn't even trashy Jerry Springer. This is like the worst, parts of it all rolled onto a wrestling program. We didn't want to see that. We wanted to see a mixture of entertainment and great wrestling, and we didn't even get that in WCW, despite all the talents they still had. Here's Nash, and then here's Scott Steiner, and he attacked the security, and then he jackknifes David Flair. Best bump that David has taken. Too bad it didn't take him out of the ring. And they choke out Russo. They should have jackknifed him. Russo would have botched it and, pretended he got a concussion because he's an unathletic dumb fuck, a ballless bitch that never belonged in wrestling, but I digress. They force him to make a three-way dance to face Jeff Jarrett later in the night. And then Bischoff tells Shane Douglas, go get Funk. Everybody's going out to get Terry Funk because nobody can find a guy that has no knees left. And I love Terry Funk, But by this point, he had no knees. His back shouldn't work. Nothing should have worked in his body at this point with what he did to himself. And yet he was just able to still get out there and wrestle. So everybody's going after Terry Funk. Everybody wants Terry Funk. And then we get the Filthy Animals versus the Misfits in action, an elimination match, and this was messy. Despite the talents, and also Bill DeMott, or Hugh G. Rection, General Rection, do you get it? Penis jokes. Despite all that, it was messy. Stasiak runs in, and then suddenly Booker comes in camo stuff as G.I. Bro. Booker got fired on Nitro, but he is back as G.I. Bro. That's how that works. If you ever get fired from a company, that's what all the WWE release talents should do. They should go under new gimmicks and just show up. Hey, it worked in Turnerland. It could work there. Why the fuck not? So he attacks Stasiak, and then we cut to the back with a brawl between the eliminated guys and stuff like that, and then more of Liz and Kimberly, and Liz shoves Kimberly down and takes the bat. And then we get Chuck Palumbo versus the Wall. We get a table bump for the win, but the Wall rises up and does this. I didn't like this show very much, if you can't tell, because I'm skipping through quite a bit of it. The matches didn't mean anything. Any of the matches that went on for a while were just dragging out the show. Thunder is the most unnecessary mainstream wrestling program that has ever existed. I mean, honestly, like, I know that the territories had their their syndicated shows and stuff like that. This was something that Turner put on TBS, and it's got to be the most unnecessary mainstream wrestling program. I mean, yes, there's WWE Main Event and stuff like that, and you can talk about it in the comments, but Thunder was so unnecessary. It just added more matches on TV, and any of the storylines they tried to tie into Nitro or tie into the pay-per-view didn't fucking work, because nobody fucking cared, because Thunder was fucking brutal. It was brutal to watch, despite the efforts of the talents. Bischoff, Horace, Kidman, and Tori are there and in the ring. And Bischoff says the Great American Bash will be the day the music died, referencing Hogan's music. Says Hogan will be done. Flair will be done. Everybody will be done. He says, here's an open challenge. Come fight these two guys, this well-oiled unit. Yes, just picture Tori, Kidman, and Horace as well-oiled units. Whatever you picture, have fun. I'm not going to kink shame you. Chronic comes down and attacks Kidman and Horace. Chronic are the WCW Tag Team Champions, by the way, and Horace at one point pie faces Bischoff, and they tease this whole split, and then he hits Brian Clark in the face, and Kidman tops him for 3. Yep, that's where we get. That's what we get here. After like a few minutes, we get that going on. Like, Chronic can't even get a win over a makeshift bullshit team, and it was a swerve, bro. We then get Douglas attacking Norman Smiley and taking Ralphus to the ring. And then here's the Wall, and he chokeslams Douglas through the announcer's table. And Shivani sarcastically saying, no, not the announcer's table. Shivani at this point must have been done. I mean, I'm just guessing, just as a fan watching, he must have been done by this point. Because I felt so bad for Tony Schiavone. Looking back on, I was critical of him in years past, and I've come around on him in the last couple of years. He really does deserve a whole lot more credit. He's had a great rebirth in the AEW, and you know what? In WCW, he was the voice of WCW and really did lend a lot to a lot of bullshit booking that they were doing. He actually helped get people through a lot of stuff, so I would consider him the voice of WCW. So all respect to Schiavone here. And then Booker says, oh, I'm G.I. Bro, and Booker T is dead. Booker T would be dead for all of, a few weeks? And then he'd be back being Booker T, and then he would be WCW Champion Bash at the Beach 2000. I gotta review that, don't I? God damn it. So, Stasiak versus G.I. Bro. This wasn't very good, mainly because Stasiak at this point was a little bit green, but also because it was Booker in a gimmick no one cared about. They tried. We get an axe kick where Stasiak hits his head on the chair. Hopefully he was okay. That looked kind of brutal. And hits bookend for 3. Or the Bro brand. The Bro end. That kind of sounds like a weird bro beach party move that I'm not going to talk about. So, Stasiak then attacks afterwards. I guess this feud continues. And then we get Tenay with Sting, and he says, I know all about mind games. I was in a dark place in 1990. Sting, you were facing the Black Scorpion. Only Jim Herd was putting the company in a dark place by that point. And Jim Herd did less damage to WCW than Russo did. How is that possible? So, talks feud with Van Vero, the Human Torch match. The lights go out, and then the set's on fire, and Sting's upset. Nobody's rushing in to put the set out, by the way, while this is going on. I guess they just wanted to burn money. I mean, they were literally burning money with all the money they were sending out to talents. And then Liz is taking Kimberly to the ring. Here's DDP, yells about Bischoff and Mike Awesome. Then Liz brings Kimberly to the ring. DDP spanks her. Palumbo in the back takes Liz or like behind, like near the stage, takes Liz back. I guess that's over. I guess Liz served her purpose. And then Awesome is with Kanyon in the hospital. Somehow managed to get down to the hospital and says, I could have my way with him. That's assault, Mike Awesome. I don't know if you know that, but that is considered assault. And then DDP calls the hospital about Awesome, says, I want security there. This is the same hospital where, Kanyon was taken after falling off the cage onto the stage, or onto the ramp, in the same venue where Owen Hart passed away a year prior, or under a year prior. Tactful. So, Nash versus Scott Steiner versus Jeff Jarrett, three-way dance for the WCW title. Russo says he will referee the match, and then the referee says no. Nash chases Russo through the crowd. So it's one-on-one until Nash comes back in about a minute. And then Russo security. Suddenly Russo's there on the stage with the security and stuff like that. Scott Steiner sees that Rick and Tank have his freak, so he chases them. And then security's blocking referee Mickey J from making the count, despite the fact that the referee's down. And then Scott Steiner runs through everybody, just steamrolls everybody. And we get, by the way, we got a guitar shot earlier on the, the referee, and I felt bad for the referee having to do anything that Russo wanted. So, yeah, Jarrett and Nash, and after Scott knocked down security, we get, the jackknife to Jarrett, and then we get 1, 2, 3, new WCW champion, and that is what I think of Vince Russo's booking. If Vince Russo was never allowed in wrestling, you know what? I think wrestling would have been better off. Or if he had just done 2 years in WWE or a few years in WWE, and in 99, he had just gone home and never gone to WCW. We wouldn't have all the meme-worthy stuff here, and I wouldn't be talking about some of the worst WCW programming, but fucking hell, can't imagine anybody would have run the company worse than Vince Russo. So that's all I gotta say about that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.